Steelers Nation, if you are ready to see your Steelers in prime time tonight, let me hear you make some noise. Now, I said, are y'all ready to see your Pittsburgh Steelers in prime time tonight? I know y'all can be louder than that. Let me hear you get loud one time. All righty. For those of you that don't know, I am Arthur Moats, retired linebacker of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I will be your host for tonight's interview. And let me tell you, I'm extremely excited to talk to this gentleman right here because he came into the league in 1984 when the Pittsburgh Steelers selected him in the first round, the 23rd overall selection out of the University of Southern Mississippi. Now, when he got to the NFL, he enjoyed a 9-year career with 8 of those seasons coming right here in Pittsburgh, in his last season with the New Orleans Saints. Now, during that time, went on to be named the AP NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1984, was a 2-time All-Pro, 2-time Pro Bowler, went on to have 359 career receptions, 6,019 career receiving yards, 39 touchdowns as a receiver, and 3 punt return touchdowns as well. Oh, and I almost forgot, in 2021, he was inducted into the Steelers Hall of Honor. So without further ado, give a warm Steelers welcome to the legend, Louis Lips.
Yeah, goddamn, let's go.
Let's go. So Louis, man, first off, it's always great seeing you. I love the energy that you bring, and especially on a night like tonight where we got them Cleveland Browns in town. So if you could, just talk about some of the feelings that you're having being around Steelers Nation on game day, and if you might have that itch to get out there and make a play or two tonight.
Well, I'm glad that it feels that way, but that ain't gonna happen, we know it. But anyway, it's prime time, all right? And it's prime time in Pittsburgh. And it's against the mistake on the lake. Oh. So let's make this happen, Pittsburgh. What you say? Monday night, baby.
Let's go. All right. There we go. Now, for you, Louis, when you came into the NFL, most guys struggle early on their rookie season, but that wasn't the case with you. You came in and were an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler that first season. Talk about what it was for you that made your transition to the NFL so smooth.
Well, Art, it's real easy for me, man, because I walked into that locker room in 1984, and there was half a dozen Steelers that had already brought 4 championships to Pittsburgh. And one of them happened to be sitting in the same classroom with me, and it goes by the name of John Stallworth.
Hello.
And I'm gonna tell you one thing, man. From going to college to the pros and learning the college system as opposed to learning the pro system, it's a little bit different. And if you don't catch on real fast, you can get lost in the shuffle real quick. Well, I had this guy, wore number 82, who already had 4 Super Bowl rings, that took me under his wings and showed me that if I wanted to get 4 rings, here is the way that it has to be done. And for me to have the success that I had in my rookie year, not just for John Stallworth, but the coaching staff, the Steelers organization, the rest of my teammates to have faith in me that a rookie could come in here and help us win some games was big on my part. So I knew I had to step in and do my part. And I didn't bring no rings here, but you better be damn sure I was trying my ass off to get them here, baby.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Louis, when we talked about in the intro, you coming into this NFL being drafted in the first round, we gotta know the backstory, that draft story. Did you know the Steelers were gonna be taking you? And were you like the rest of us thinking you were gonna go earlier than that? Or were you surprised on draft night?
Well, coming out of Southern Mississippi, I had a chance of playing the Senior Bowl. And so what I learned after I played in the Senior Bowl, that normally if you're in the Super Bowl, somebody's gonna sign you, somebody's gonna draft you. Where or when, you just never know. And they give you a lot of ideas and tell you like, oh, well, hey man, you're looking good. They're saying you might be late first round, early second, late third, early fourth. So you just don't know. But the one thing that I did know that I wanted to happen, I just wanted to be drafted by somebody at some point in time. I just wanted a chance. And it just so happened that the Pittsburgh Steelers chose me in the first round, which I had no idea. I would be drafted in the first round, but they did. They knew more about me than I knew about myself, I'm gonna put it like that. And I tell you what, in the famous words of a guy who got voted into the Hall of Fame years ago, he wore number 58. He said, if I had it to do all over again, you better be damn sure it would have been a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joined by Louis Lips in the FedEx Great Hall for those of you that are listening. Now, Louis, not only did you put together an amazing career, but you also got a chance to play for one of the greatest coaches of all time. Talk about the Hall of Faming coach, Chuck Noll. If you could, just talk a little bit about what that experience was like for you.
Well, I guess I could. I mean, Chuck, all I can tell you is about Chuck Noll, and I think a lot of my teammates who went through the same transition that I did, was that the only thing that Chuck ever wanted was for you to give it your best. He wanted you to give it his best. And at the same time, he wanted you to run his situation the way he wanted it run. If you did that, then you ain't had no problem with Coach Noll. But if you wanted to do it your own way, then, like he would always say, it's my way or the highway.
Let's go. Let's go. Now, throughout your career, you made a ton of plays, both as a receiver and as a return man. But what I want to know from you is, what was your favorite play? From both perspectives, as a receiver and also when you were back there returning those punts.
Well, I have to say, the very first time I stepped feet in Three Rivers Stadium, never got a chance to run on this nice, clean carpet that y'all got here.
Talk about it, talk about it.
I ran on that hard-ass turf that we had in Three Rivers, but when I stepped foot on Three Rivers, and you guys welcomed me with the loudest ovation that I've ever heard and I've ever seen, because we didn't have a big screen at Southern Mississippi, but we had one here in Three Rivers. And when I went back to return my first punt, it said, Lou. And I happened to be facing the big screen, and the first thing that I said to myself was that, you better not fair catch this ball. And that's the only thing that came to my mind. So I said, well, I'm gonna catch it and I gotta make something happen because these people wanna see me do something. And let me tell you, I don't remember exactly how many yards I returned my first punt. It might have been 5, 4, it might have been 10, 12, or 15. But when you guys said it again, Lou, man, I had goosebumps as big as plums on my arms. And I wanted to have that feeling every time that I stepped back that return punts. And y'all made me have that feeling, and I appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Let's go. Let's go.
But I did like catching the ball too now. I like catching the ball too. I begged for it more than I got it, but I did.
But you made the most of it when you did get it too,
Yes,
man.
I
So we
did.
appreciate you for that, absolutely.
I tried to.
But now also, Louis, we know back when you were playing, the rules were a little bit different. The defenders could actually hit you a little bit harder and make the game just a little bit more challenging.
Oh, yeah.
If you could, though, just talk about the toughest player that you faced back in your career.
Man, there was a bunch of them. I mean, boy, I hate to say this. I really, really, really hate to say this. But two of the toughest corners that I ever played against end up being in Cleveland.
Oh, no, oh, no.
But at the same time, they played man-to-man coverage, and that's the easiest coverage in the world to detect. Because you know where he at all the time, he right there next to you. So I know just what to do to get rid of him. But I played against Mike Haynes, I played against Lester Hayes, I played against Kevin Ross, and I can't think of it, Lewis from Grambling. These guys played man-to-man all the way down the field. They can touch you all the way down the field. So in today's game, I probably would have got in another 5 or 10 years. But it was tougher back when we played because the guys can contact you all the way up and down the field. So, yeah, we liked it and we didn't like it sometimes, but when they played man-to-man, man, we dug in, man. We dug in.
Let's go. Absolutely, baby. Now we got a couple more questions for Louis before we open it up for some Q&A from the audience, all right? But as I said in the intro, in 2021, you were officially inducted into the Steelers Hall of Honor. If you could, just talk about what that moment meant for you, man.
Well, what that moment meant to me was that I think I was appreciated, and it shows that when we got here, even though we didn't bring no championships here, man, that we was trying like heck to bring one here. And we was busting our butt every day, every year, every game to try to make that happen. And for this organization and the sports writers and the sportscasters and all the people who was included in the voting for the Hall of Honor just showed to me that, hey, we know you didn't bring the championship here, but you made a difference in them years that you were here. So for me, being in the Hall of Honor is my Super Bowl. So
Let's go, absolutely.
that is huge for me, and I'm very, very appreciative of it.
No, without a doubt. And we're very appreciative of the contributions that you made to earn that right as well, man. So absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right now, Louis, it's time for the final question that I have for you.
Uh-oh.
Now, we know when we make that transition from college to the pros, we all have that moment where we realize we playing with the real guys now. We're no longer in college. We even call it the welcome to the NFL moment. So if you could, talk about your welcome to the NFL moment.
My welcome to the NFL moment. I would say it had to be when I got off the plane, the day after I got drafted, or a couple of days after I got drafted. I'm walking through the old Pittsburgh International Airport, And at that time, everybody and anybody can walk in and out of the airport all day long. No TSA, no nothing like that. And I'm walking through the airport with the public relations director through the airport. And there were people in the airport calling me by name. Where does that happen? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm serious, man. I mean, people were calling me by my name, and I had just stepped off the plane for my very first visit in Pennsylvania, to be honest with you. So I guess my aha moment, that had to be it, because I was like, holy heck, I said, I don't even know nobody here. But they knew me, so I knew I was in for something special.
Let's go. No, absolutely. All right, so before we open it up for the Q&A, can we give another round of applause to Louis Lips? All righty. So now, if you do have a question for Louis, come on up real quick. Yeah. Introduce your name and then ask Louis your question.
My name's Dan. Who was your favorite teammate to play with?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of them, man, because a lot of them helped me get the numbers that I got. But I have to really give props out to, like I said earlier, number 82, because I was rookie, 10 years younger than him. And for my first 8 years in the league, he was my roommate, both at training camp, on the road, and at home. So how does that happen? Who made that happen? How was that decision made? I don't care, but I loved every minute of it. So yes, number 82.
There we go, there we go.
My name is Braden, and who's your favorite player on the Steelers right now?
Who would be my favorite player on the Steelers right now? Well, I don't want to say the obvious. I mean, who don't like T.J. Watt?
There it is.
If you don't like T.J. Watt,
kick roll with T.J.
If you don't like T.J. Watt, your ass don't need to be here. But I think for a couple of reasons, and one was that I used to be a backup holder for the kicker. So I know how special that ball has to be for that kicker to make it happen. So I'm gonna have to say number 9 is Boswell.
Let's go. The Wizard of Boz. All right. Introduce yourself and then ask your question for Louis.
Hudson Hoyman. What was your favorite play you made in your career?
What was my favorite play?
Yeah, from your career.
Well, you know, it's a wideout, so wideouts like to catch the ball, but we always like to run the ball too. So one of my favorite plays was always running the reverse. I like to used to run the reverse.
He said the reverse, not the jet sweep. Y'all heard that. All right, last question before we take some pictures after this, all right?
Tony Brown and Louis, I've always wanted to know, my favorite receivers always run special teams. Did they make you quit special teams because you were too valuable, or did you volunteer to quit special teams?
Well,
that's a good question, yeah.
Okay, he asked me, did they make me quit special teams or did I not want to play? Well, the only thing I knew was that after about my second year, I was no longer on any of the special teams. So they didn't tell me I was fired. They didn't tell me I didn't do a good job. They just didn't put me on it. They just didn't put me on the roster anymore for special teams. Enough said.
We say he graduated,
I graduated.
from special
There you
teams.
go.
That's what we say, he graduated, all right? But that will conclude the
I
interview
graduated.
portion of today's show. We will do some pictures and stuff like that afterwards. But once again, man, please give another round of applause to Louis Lips for his time today.